Kim Min-jun adjusted his simple black suit and looked across the massive conference table. The chamber aboard Harmony the Seventh Station was built to impress. Golden walls stretched up 3 stories high. 7 thrones sat arranged in a perfect circle, each one designed for a different alien species. At the center, a small human chair looked like furniture for a child. The Council of Seven had ruled the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Today, they would decide humanity's place in that galaxy. Representative Kim. Speaker Thyrak's voice rumbled from his towering reptilian throat. The Corvani leader's yellow eyes looked down at Kim like a parent scolding a misbehaving child. We have been more than patient with your species. Kim nodded politely. Behind him, Captain Sarah Chen shifted in her seat. Her hands were clenched tight, but her face stayed calm. She had learned to hide her feelings during these talks. The Council appreciates human enthusiasm, continued Counselor. Whispers between stars. The ethereal's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. But enthusiasm without wisdom leads to chaos. Admiral Vex clicked his mandibles in what passed for agreement among the insectoid Zephyri. Human expansion has been reckless, dangerous. You colonize systems without proper oversight. Kim listened without speaking. For 3 weeks, he had sat in this chair. For 3 weeks, he had heard the same complaints. Humans were too young, too aggressive, too unpredictable, too dangerous to be left alone. Which brings us to today's proposal, Thyrak said. He gestured, and a holographic map appeared above the table. Human space glowed in blue. It looked small compared to the golden territories of the Council species. The Galactic Council offers humanity a place in civilized space, Thyrak announced. You may keep Earth and 3 colony worlds of your choosing. All other human territories will be placed under Council administration. Sarah's breath caught. Kim's expression did not change. Furthermore, Admiral Vex added, all human military vessels will be decommissioned or transferred to Council control. Human defense will become a Council responsibility. For your own protection, of course. Whispers between stars said softly. Counselor Higamarch of the Stone-like Titans spoke for the first time. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. Human research and development will be supervised by Council scientists. To prevent dangerous experimentation, Kim finally spoke. And if we refuse? Thyrak's lipless mouth curved upward. Refusal would be unfortunate. The galaxy is dangerous, Representative Kim. Pirates, rogue artificial intelligences, the Voidwalkers at the galactic edge. Humanity cannot handle such threats alone. The Council has kept peace for a millennium, added Counselor Sinka of the energy being Luminals. Her voice crackled like electricity. We know what is best. Captain Chen leaned forward. What about human trade routes? Our merchant fleet? Council oversight will make them more efficient. Thyrak said dismissively. Human vessels lack proper organization. Kim studied the holographic map. 73 human worlds reduced to 4. Millions of human colonists suddenly under alien rule. He thought of the families on New Sol, the research stations around Kepler. 442. The mining colonies in the Perseus Arm. There is one more matter, Thyrak said casually. Human population growth has been excessive. The Council will implement breeding controls to prevent resource strain. The words hung in the air like poison. Kim looked up from the map. His dark eyes met Thyrak's yellow ones. Breeding controls? Population management, Admiral Vex clarified. Standard procedure for developing species. Birth permits, genetic screening, family size limitations. Purely for the greater good. Sarah started to stand, but Kim held up one finger. She sat back down, her face red with anger. I see. Kim said quietly. The Council is generous, Thyrak continued. Most species in your position receive far less favorable terms. We recognize human potential, despite your obvious limitations. Kim nodded slowly. He reached for his datapad and stylus on the table. For a moment, the council members looked pleased. Finally, the stubborn humans would accept reality. Instead, Kim began collecting his papers. One by one, he stacked them neatly. He closed his datapad and placed it in his briefcase. He capped his stylus and put it away. Representative Kim? Whispers between stars sounded confused. Kim stood up. He straightened his suit jacket and picked up his briefcase. Sarah immediately stood as well. The other human delegates followed. "Where are you going?" Thyrak demanded. Kim looked at him calmly. "We're done here." "Done?" Admiral Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly. "The negotiations are not finished." "Yes, they are," Kim said. His voice was perfectly polite, perfectly controlled. "Thank you for your time." He turned and walked toward the chamber doors. Sarah and the other humans followed in complete silence. Their footsteps echoed in the vast room. "You cannot simply leave." Thyrak's voice boomed behind them. "The council has not dismissed you." Kim paused at the doorway. He turned back one last time. "The council never invited us either. We came here in good faith, hoping to find partners. Instead, we found masters looking for slaves." "You misunderstand," Whispers Between Stars said quickly. "The terms are negotiable." "No," Kim replied. "They're not. Good day, counselors." The human delegation walked out. The massive doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. In the conference chamber, 7 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in stunned silence. "They'll be back," Thyrak said finally. "Within a week." Humans are emotional creatures, but they're not stupid. They know they need us. Admiral Vex nodded. "Without council protection, human space will collapse into chaos. They'll come crawling back, begging for mercy." "Should we prepare a less generous offer?" Hegemarch asked. "No," Thyrak said confidently. "The same terms. Let them realize their mistake first. It will make the lesson more valuable." Counselor Sinka flickered with amusement. "Perhaps we should take bets on how long their pride lasts." 3 days, Admiral Vex clicked. "No more." "A week," Hegemarch rumbled. "They'll send desperate messages within 24 hours, Thyrak predicted. None of them noticed that the human delegation's translator devices were still connected to the station's communication network. None of them realized that every word was being recorded and transmitted across human space. Kim Min-jun walked to his shuttle with steady steps. Behind him, the greatest powers in the galaxy laughed about humanity's foolish pride. They would not be laughing for long. 2 weeks had passed since the human delegation walked out of Harmony 7 station. Speaker Thyrak drummed his clawed fingers on his desk, staring at the empty message queue on his personal communicator. Nothing. Not a single transmission from human space. "Any word from the humans?" he asked his aide. A nervous Corvani named Sek Thursday. "No messages, Speaker. No diplomatic contacts. No trade requests." Sekthu's tongue flicked out anxiously. Complete radio silence. Thyrak leaned back in his chair. This was not going according to plan. By now, Kim Min-jun should have sent a dozen apology messages. Human merchants should be flooding council ports, begging for continued trade agreements. Instead, the humans acted like the council didn't exist. "They're being childish," Thyrak muttered. "Send another message to their ambassador. Tell him the council is willing to discuss adjustments to the terms." "I've sent 17 messages, Speaker. No responses." Admiral Vex entered the office without announcement. A privilege of his military rank. His compound eyes looked agitated. "We need to talk." Thyrak. "If this is about the humans, it is about the humans." Vex dropped a datapad on Thyrak's desk. "Look at the shipping reports." 41. Thyrak picked up the pad, and scrolled through the data. His yellow eyes widened. These numbers can't be right. They're right. 3 major trade routes through human space have been closed to Council traffic. The Meridian Passage, the Kepler Corridor, and the entire Perseus Arm route network. Closed? Humans don't have the authority to close space lanes. Quote, "They have the ships to block them," Vex replied grimly. "My scouts report human patrol fleets at every major jump point. They're not attacking anyone, just redirecting traffic." Thyrak felt a cold chill in his stomach. Redirecting where? The long way around. Through Hegemarch space, then Luminal territory, then back to Zephyri systems. What used to be a 4-day journey now takes 3 weeks. 3-2. I'm day. Sensing. Lying. What about our merchant vessels? Are they using the alternate routes? Vex made the clicking sound that meant bad news among his people. The ones that can afford the extra fuel and time? Yes. The others have suspended operations entirely. Thyrak stood and walked to his office window. Outside, Corvani Prime's twin suns cast long shadows across the capital city. Usually, the spaceports were busy with constant traffic. Today, he could see empty landing pads. There's more, Vex continued. Human merchant ships have stopped visiting Council worlds entirely. No cargo deliveries, no passenger service, no trade negotiations. So what? We have other trading partners. Do we? Vex activated his personal communicator and projected a holographic display. Here's what we're not getting anymore. Medical supplies from human laboratories. Rare earth elements from human mining operations. Agricultural products from human farm worlds. Technical components from human manufacturing centers. Thyrak studied the list. It was longer than he expected. I didn't realize we relied on human supplies so heavily. Neither did I. Neither did anyone else on the council. Humans were just there. Reliable. Efficient. Cheap. We never thought about what happened if they weren't there anymore. A soft chime indicated an incoming priority message. Thyrak's aide appeared on the wall screen, looking even more nervous than usual. Speaker. I have Counselor Hegemarch on priority communication. He says it's urgent. Said. The Rocky Titan's face filled the screen, his stone features unusually animated. Thyrak, we have a problem. My mining guilds are reporting equipment failures across 17 systems. The repair components we need. They come from human industrial worlds. Find alternative suppliers, Thyrak replied, trying to sound confident. There are no alternatives. Humans developed specialized technologies for working in high radiation environments. No other species bothered to research it because the humans were already handling those jobs. Before Thyrak could respond, another priority signal chimed. Counselor whispers. Between stars materialized as a shimmering outline. The ethereal scientific communities are experiencing difficulties. The energy being announced. Our deep space observation networks require regular calibration using specific isotopic compounds. These compounds were previously supplied by human deep space mining operations. How long can you function without them? Vex asked. Our instruments have already begun degrading. Within 1 month, we will lose 60% of our early warning capabilities for threats at the galactic rim. Thyrak felt the cold chill spreading through his body. Void Walker movements. Rogue artificial intelligence clusters. Gamma-ray burst predictions. Pirates operating from dark space. Whispers. Between stars paused. We have been effectively blind to galactic threats for 11 days now. The communication chamber fell silent except for the hum of machinery. This is temporary, Thyrak insisted. The humans are throwing a tantrum. They'll come to their senses when they realize they need council protection and support. Will they? Admiral Vex brought up another display. Intelligence reports from human space paint a different picture. The hologram showed human star systems with detailed activity readings, ships moving in organized patterns, communication networks operating at full efficiency, production facilities running at normal capacity. They don't look like they're struggling, Vex observed. What about their defense posture? Surely they're vulnerable without Council military cooperation. Vex manipulated the display to show human fleet movements. The pattern made his mandibles click nervously. This is the concerning part. Human patrol fleets have increased their activity by 40%. And look at their formation patterns. Thyrak studied the tactical display. Human ships moved with mathematical precision, each fleet covering specific zones with no gaps or overlaps. This level of coordination, it suggests extensive preparation. That's what worries me. This isn't a spontaneous response to the failed negotiations. This looks like implementation of a pre-existing plan. 2. Whispers between stars flickered with something that might have been unease. How long would such coordination take to develop? Years, Vex admitted. Maybe decades. The three council members looked at each other in growing silence. Get me a full intelligence report on human military capabilities, Thyrak ordered. Everything we know about their technology, their fleet strength, their strategic resources. Already requested it, Vex replied. There's a problem, though. 60% of our intelligence on human space came from cooperative information sharing, data they provided to us freely during joint operations. And the other 40%? Human sources, diplomatic contacts, trade officials, scientific exchange programs. Vex's compound eyes looked dim. All of those contacts have gone silent. Thyrak walked back to his desk and sat down heavily. For the first time since the humans had walked out, he felt something other than irritation. He felt worry. Open a channel to Kim Min-jun, he ordered. His aide checked the communication logs. No response. Speaker. His diplomatic codes have been deactivated. Then contact their government directly. Earth Central Command. Luna Station Authority. Anyone who will answer. I've tried. All human diplomatic channels have been suspended. Thyrak stared at his empty message queue. 2 weeks ago, human diplomats had been eager to meet with council representatives. Human merchants had competed for council trade contracts. Human scientists had begged for research partnerships. Now, it was as if humanity had simply decided the rest of the galaxy didn't exist. Speaker. His aide said quietly, there's one more thing. The Andrasi delegation has requested an emergency meeting. Their crystal gardens are dying. Dying? How? Nutrient deficiency. The specialized fertilizer compounds they require are produced exclusively by human agricultural worlds. Thyrak closed his eyes. Schedule the meeting. As his aide's image disappeared, Thyrak looked out at the empty spaceports again. In the distance, he could see the first signs of civil unrest, as shortages began affecting everyday life. Maybe the humans weren't the ones who needed to come to their senses. The emergency session of the Council of Seven had been called after 3 more star systems reported critical supply shortages. Speaker Thyrak looked around the circular chamber, noting the empty spaces where holographic delegates should have appeared. 2 council members couldn't even maintain their communication links due to failing equipment. The situation is worse than projected, Admiral Vex reported, his mandibles clicking rapidly. The Andrasi crystal gardens aren't just dying, they've entered toxic shock. Without human-developed nutrients, the gardens are releasing poisonous gases into their atmosphere. Councillor Hegemarch's rocky face showed cracks of stress. My mining operations in the Titan Belt have shut down completely. The radiation-resistant equipment is failing, and replacement parts simply don't exist outside human manufacturing. What about alternative suppliers? Whispers between stars asked. The ethereal's energy form flickered weakly, a sign of distress. There are none, Hegemarch rumbled. Humans cornered those markets, not through force, but through innovation. They developed technologies the rest of us never bothered with, because they were already handling the work. Thyrak pulled up economic reports on his display. The numbers were devastating. 17 major industries across Council space have reduced operations by 50% or more. Unemployment is rising on 12 worlds. The Corvani shipyards have laid off 30,000 workers because they can't get the specialized alloys they need. Surely humans need our trade as much as we need theirs, Sinka protested. The Luminal's electrical form sparked with agitation. They can't maintain their economy in isolation. Actually, they can, Admiral Vex said quietly. Intelligence reports suggest human space has become more economically integrated since our disagreement. They're trading more heavily among themselves, developing internal supply chains, expanding production to cover gaps. While we fall apart, Whispers Between Stars observed. Before anyone could respond, a priority alert flashed across every screen in the chamber. Admiral Vex's compound eyes went wide as he read the incoming data. Void Walker Fleet, detected at the galactic rim. Massive formation, moving toward inhabited systems. The chamber fell silent. Void Walkers were the galaxy's nightmare machine intelligences from dark space that consumed entire worlds for resources. The Council's early warning networks had kept them at bay for centuries. How massive? Thyrak asked. 700 vessels. Destroyer, class, and above. Vex's voice was flat with shock. Larger than any previous incursion. When did our sensors detect them? They didn't. The report came from civilian sources near the rim. Thyrak's blood went cold. Civilians? What civilians have deep space monitoring capability? Rain. Doe. Wall. Apparently, human merchant vessels conducting routine surveys along the galactic edge. Vex manipulated his display, showing the detection data. The scan quality is extremely sophisticated. More sophisticated than our military sensors? By several orders of magnitude, yes. Whispers Between Stars pulsed with alarm. How is that possible? Human technology was always considered adequate. 1. Maybe we were wrong about that, Hegemarch said grimly. Where are the Void Walkers heading? Thyrak demanded. Zephyr space, ETA 48 hours. Vex looked up from his display. We need to mobilize the combined fleet immediately. Do it. Send everything we have. As Vex began issuing orders, another priority message arrived. The face of Dr. Park Ji-woo, a human medical researcher, appeared on the chamber's main screen. Dr. Park? Thyrak was surprised. We haven't heard from Human Medical Services since you told us our breeding populations needed management. Dr. Park interrupted calmly. I'm calling about the plague outbreak in the Zephyr colonies. What plague outbreak? Admiral Vex spun around from his tactical displays. Dr. Park's expression remained professionally neutral. The bacterial infection spreading through your mining colonies. It started 3 days ago. Current projection shows 90% infection rates within 1 week. We haven't received any reports of because your medical monitoring systems depend on human-supplied biochemical sensors, Dr. Park explained. Without those sensors, you're medically blind. Vex frantically accessed medical reports from Zephyr space. She's right. Colony 17 has gone silent. Colony 23 is reporting equipment failures. Colony 31. His voice trailed off. Colony 31 has 8 million inhabitants. Dr. Park said quietly. Current estimates suggest fewer than 2 million survivors. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Thyrak had to shout to restore order. Dr. Park, what do you need to help them? I don't need anything, she replied. I'm calling to inform you that human medical ships are currently treating the infected populations. We should have the outbreak contained within 72 hours. You're helping them? After you insulted us, threatened us, and tried to reduce us to vassal status? Doctor. Park's voice remained calm. Yes, we're helping them. Because that's what we do. The transmission ended. Admiral Vex looked up from his tactical displays, his compound eyes wide with shock. The combined fleet is ready to deploy against the Voidwalkers. But we have a problem. Our tactical coordination networks are failing. Failing how? The quantum communication arrays that link our fleets. They require regular recalibration, using equipment provided by human technical services. Without that maintenance, fleet coordination becomes impossible beyond basic voice communication. Thyrak felt reality crashing down around him. How long since the last recalibration? 16 days. And how long can we maintain coordination without it? At current degradation rates, maybe 6 hours of combat operations. Whispers between stars pulsed weakly. 6 hours against 700 Voidwalker ships? It gets worse, Vex continued. Our intelligence networks have identified the Voidwalker force as a deep strike formation. They're not heading for the colonies first, they're targeting military installations and communication hubs. Classic scorched earth tactics, Hegemarch observed. Blind us, then consume us. Exactly. And without human intelligence support, we don't know their real objectives until they're already in position. Thyrak stared at the tactical display, showing the approaching Voidwalker fleet. Red dots, marking 700 enemy ships, moving toward Council space, while their own fleets struggled with basic communication. Contact the human delegation, he ordered. They're not accepting communications. Then send a ship to Earth. Send 10 ships. Tell them the Council formally requests military assistance. On what terms? Whispers between stars asked. Thyrak was quiet for a long moment. Whatever terms they want. As his aide rushed to carry out orders, Thyrak studied the displays around him. Economic collapse, medical crises, military coordination failures, everything falling apart at once. How long do you think they knew? He asked quietly. Knew what? Vex replied. That we were completely dependent on them, that our entire civilization would collapse without human support. Admiral Vex clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Given the speed of their response, the coordination of their withdrawal, the seamless replacement of their services with internal alternatives. He paused. Decades. Maybe, since first contact. They were protecting us, Hegemarch realized. All this time, we thought we were the senior partners, the wise elders guiding primitive humans. But they were the ones keeping everything running. Whispers between stars flickered with something that might have been shame. We were children playing at being adults, while the real adults kept us safe. Thyrak looked out at the approaching storm of Voidwalker ships and wondered if humanity would still be willing to protect children who had tried to chain them. The Council's emergency fleet limped back to Harmony 7 station in complete disarray. Admiral Vex stood in the medical bay, watching Zephyri doctors treat radiation burns on his officers. The confrontation with the Voidwalkers had lasted exactly 4 hours and 37 minutes before their communication systems failed completely. Casualties? Speaker Thyrak asked as he entered the medical bay. 63 ships lost, 427 severely damaged. Vex's mandibles clicked in agitation. The Voidwalkers withdrew, but only because they accomplished their primary objective, which was destroying our deep space monitoring stations. We're now completely blind beyond the third galactic ring. Thyrak closed his eyes. How many more waves are coming? We don't know. Without the monitoring network, they could bring 1,000 ships or 10,000. We won't see them until they're already in our home systems. Lieutenant Commander Lee Sung-min watched the tactical displays from the human observation post on Luna. Her expression remained professionally neutral, as she studied the Council fleet's battle damage. The data was being transmitted in real time to every human military installation in the galaxy. "Ma'am," her aide reported, "we're receiving multiple distress calls from Council worlds. Medical assistance, technical support, military reinforcement requests. Forward them to command," Lee replied calmly. "Standard procedure." "And the Council's request for direct military intervention?" Lee studied the tactical data one more time. The Council had lost more ships in 4 hours than humanity had lost in 50 years of frontier defense. "Also forwarded to command, with tactical analysis attached." Her tactical analysis was devastating. The Council fleets were fighting with outdated doctrines against an enemy that had evolved beyond their understanding. Their weapons were adequate, but poorly coordinated. Their shields were strong but improperly modulated. Their formations were traditional, but strategically obsolete. They were trying to fight tomorrow's war with yesterday's thinking. "Ma'am." Priority message from Admiral Chen. Sarah Chen's face appeared on the communication screen. She looked tired but determined. "Commander Lee, what's your assessment of Council military capacity?" "Inadequate for current threat levels, Admiral." Recommendation: immediate modernization of tactical doctrines, weapon systems, and command structures. Timeline for that modernization? Optimistic estimate: 15 years. Realistic estimate: 25 years. And how long before the next Void Walker assault? Lee checked her deep space sensors. Unlike the Council, humanity had never depended on centralized monitoring systems. Every human ship, station, and outpost contributed to a distributed early warning network. Next major assault in approximately 60 hours, Admiral. Force estimate: 1,200 vessels. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "Thank you, Commander." "Chen out." "Chen." As the transmission ended, Lee's aide looked concerned. "Ma'am, should we warn the Council about the incoming assault?" "One. We tried. They're not accepting our communications." Back on Harmony 7 Station, Speaker Thyrak faced the most humiliating moment of his 1,000-year political career. The economic reports were catastrophic. 3 Council species had suffered complete industrial collapse. The ethereal observation networks had gone dark. Even the proud luminal energy beings were experiencing power failures, as their fusion reactors required human-supplied catalysts. "We have one option left," Thyrak announced to the Emergency Council session. "Military intervention," Admiral Vex agreed reluctantly. "Force the humans to resume their support roles." "Force?" Whispers between stars pulsed weakly. "With what?" "Our fleet coordination is failing. Our intelligence networks are blind. Our supply lines are broken. We still have numerical superiority," Hegemarch argued. 3 Council fleets against however many ships humans can field. "Nunti." Thyrak activated the tactical display. "Admiral Vex, what do we know about human military strength?" That's the problem," Vex admitted. "Our intelligence estimates were based on information they provided to us. Patrol reports, fleet registries, production summaries. All of that data has been classified or withdrawn. So we don't actually know how many ships they have? We know they have at least 400 vessels based on visual observations. But our analysts now believe that number represents only a fraction of their total fleet. How large a fraction? Unknown. Thyrak felt a headache building behind his eyes. Deploy 3 fleets to human border systems. Standard intimidation formation. If they won't negotiate, we'll remind them who rules this galaxy. 6 hours later, those 3 fleets found themselves facing something impossible. "Report," Thyrak demanded as Admiral Vex's panicked voice filled the council chamber. "The humans. They're everywhere," Vex stammered. "Fleet sensors show massive formations at every jump point. Hundreds of ships, perfectly coordinated, defending positions that shouldn't be defensible. Are they attacking? No. They're just waiting. But Thyrak, their ships. Their ships are not what we expected. Explain. Advanced hull configurations, weapon systems we don't recognize, shield harmonics that make no sense according to our physics models. Vex's voice cracked. These aren't the simple patrol vessels we've been seeing for decades. These are warships designed by a civilization that understands warfare better than we do. Thyrak stared at the tactical feeds in growing horror. The humans had deployed in perfect defensive formations, covering every possible approach to their systems. But more disturbing was the technology they displayed. Their ships are larger than ours, Hegemarch observed. And they're clearly more advanced. How is that possible? Maybe they were never showing us their real capabilities, whispers between stars, suggested quietly. A new voice entered the chamber. Kim Min-jun's face appeared on the main communication screen. He looked exactly as calm and polite as he had 3 weeks ago. Speaker Thyrak, Kim said pleasantly. I understand you wanted to speak with us. Quote, Representative Kim, we demand. You're not in a position to demand anything, Kim interrupted gently. Your fleets are currently surrounded by ships that could destroy them in approximately 37 minutes. Your home systems are experiencing cascading infrastructure failures. Your member species are facing economic and medical crises that worsen by the hour. Thyrak tried to maintain his authority. The Council will not be threatened by... We're not threatening anyone, Kim replied. We're protecting ourselves. There's a difference. Admiral Vex leaned forward. Kim, your military strength, why did you hide it from us? We didn't hide anything. You never asked the right questions. Kim's expression remained pleasant. For 50 years, you assumed human capabilities were limited because we acted cooperatively rather than aggressively. You mistook restraint for weakness. What do you want? Thyrak asked desperately. The same thing we wanted 3 weeks ago. A partnership between equals. Mutual respect. Recognition that humanity has something valuable to contribute to galactic civilization. And if we refuse? Kim was quiet for a moment. Then you'll face the next Voidwalker assault alone. Our sensors show 1,200 ships approaching Council space. ETA, 58 hours. Your current fleet strength and coordination capabilities give you approximately a 15% chance of survival. The Council chamber fell silent. However, Kim continued, if you're willing to discuss genuine partnership terms, humanity stands ready to coordinate a joint defense. Your people would be protected. Your worlds would be defended. Your civilization would survive. What kind of partnership? Whispers between stars asked. The kind where humanity is treated as an equal member of galactic civilization rather than a junior species requiring supervision. Thyrak looked around the chamber at his fellow council members. They all knew the same truth. They had no choice. What are your terms? Thyrak asked quietly. Kim smiled for the first time since the failed peace talks. I think we should discuss that in person. Shall we meet on Harmony 7? This time, perhaps we could arrange for equal seating. Kim Min-jun sat at the center of the Harmony 7 council chamber, no longer in the small chair meant for a child. The seating had been rearranged. 7 equals around a circular table, with humanity represented by Kim and Admiral Sarah Chen. Speaker Thyrak looked older than his 800 years. The stress of the past month had shown him truths he wished he could forget. Representative Kim, the Council is prepared to hear your terms. Before we discuss terms, Kim replied calmly, I think it's important that we all understand what actually happened here. Admiral Chen? Sarah activated her personal display device. The chamber filled with holographic data showing galactic trade routes, military patrol patterns, medical support networks, and technological development timelines. For 53 years, Sarah began, humanity has been providing services to Council species, not as subordinates seeking approval, but as partners maintaining galactic stability. The first display showed economic networks. Red lines indicated human trade routes that had been quietly carrying 60% of interspecies commerce. Blue dots marked human research facilities that had been developing critical technologies for non-human use. Green circles highlighted human medical stations that had been preventing plague outbreaks across 17 different species. "We didn't advertise these services," Kim explained. "We simply provided them because civilized beings help each other." Admiral Vex clicked his mandibles nervously. "The scope of human involvement, we had no idea." "Because you never asked," Sarah replied. "You assumed human capabilities were limited because we didn't boast about our achievements." The second display showed military coordination patterns. For decades, human fleets had been quietly managing threats at the galactic rim. Voidwalker scouts eliminated before they could report back. Pirate bases destroyed before they could organize major raids. Rogue artificial intelligences contained before they could spread. "Every time your early warning systems detected a threat," Kim said, "it was because we had already identified it, tracked it, and prepared responses. Your sensors were excellent for confirming what we told you was coming." Whispers between stars pulsed with something that might have been shame. The ethereal observation networks were secondary systems? Backup systems, Sarah confirmed. High quality, reliable, but not primary threat detection. That was handled by distributed human monitoring networks you didn't know existed. Thyrak studied the displays in growing horror. "How long have you been protecting us?" "Since first contact," Kim answered honestly. "Your species had achieved remarkable things: art, philosophy, scientific advancement. But you had also become comfortable, secure in your superiority. You stopped watching for threats because threats had been managed for so long." The third display showed the current crisis in devastating detail. Voidwalker fleet movements that the Council couldn't see. Economic collapse spreading through systems that had become dependent on human support. Medical emergencies that human facilities were quietly treating despite official diplomatic silence. The Zephyri Plague. Dr. Park Ji-woo's voice joined the conversation as her image appeared alongside the data. Human medical teams have been working continuously to contain the outbreak. Current status: 97% of infected individuals treated successfully. "You saved millions of lives," Hegemarch rumbled. "After we insulted you. After we tried to control you. After you tried to manage our breeding populations." Kim corrected gently. "Yes." An urgent alarm sounded in the chamber. Admiral Vex looked up from his tactical display with naked fear in his compound eyes. "The Voidwalker assault fleet has arrived. 1,200 ships. Just as predicted. They're moving toward Council core systems." "Current ETA to inhabited worlds?" Sarah asked. 6 hours. Kim stood and walked to the chamber's main tactical display. "Admiral Chen, please show our guests the real scope of human military capability." The display changed to show human space in detail. What the Council members saw made them gasp in shock. Instead of a few hundred patrol vessels, the display revealed over 3,000 human warships. Advanced designs that made Council vessels look primitive. Fleet formations that demonstrated coordination beyond anything they had imagined possible. "This is your true military strength?" Whispers between stars asked. "This is the minimum necessary to keep the galaxy safe," Kim replied. "We've been building these capabilities for decades, not for conquest, but for protection." "Protection of what?" Thyrak demanded. "Protection of everyone," Sarah answered. "Human, Corvani, Zephyri, ethereal, everyone. Because that's what civilized beings do." The tactical display updated to show the approaching Voidwalker fleet, 1,200 ships moving in perfect formation toward Council space. Behind them, Kim could see Admiral Vex calculating their chances of survival. The answer was 0. "Admiral Chen," Kim said quietly, Implement Operation Guardian's Shield. Understood, sir. The display exploded with activity. Human fleets that had been hidden in dark space suddenly appeared, moving to intercept the Voidwalker assault. 3,000 human warships arranged in defensive formations that protected every inhabited system in Council space. You're protecting our worlds, Hegemarch realized. Even after everything we said and did. Of course we are, Kim replied. What did you think we were going to do? Let billions of innocent people die? Because their leaders made poor decisions? The battle began at the outer edge of Council space. The display showed human fleets engaging Voidwalker forces with tactical precision that made the Council's recent defeat look amateur. Human weapons systems that Council scientists didn't understand. Shield configurations that defied their physics models. Coordination that seemed almost telepathic in its perfection. How are they doing that? Admiral Vex whispered. 50 years of preparation, Sarah answered. Distributed command networks. Quantum communication arrays. Battle doctrines developed specifically for fighting machine intelligences. The Voidwalker fleet, which had seemed unstoppable against Council forces, found itself systematically dismantled by human tactics. Ships that tried to scatter were herded into kill zones. Formations that attempted to break through human lines were anticipated and countered before they could execute their plans. This is what real military power looks like, Kim observed calmly. Not armies built for conquest, but fleets designed to protect civilization itself. Within 4 hours, the Voidwalker assault was over. 1,200 enemy ships had been reduced to scattered debris. Human casualties, 0. Human ships lost, 0. The chamber was silent except for the hum of machinery. Why? Thyrak asked finally. Why protect us after we tried to enslave you? Kim returned to his seat and looked directly at the Corvani leader. Because protection isn't conditional on gratitude. Because civilization is worth preserving. Because someone has to be the adult in the room. What happens now? Whispers between stars. Asked. Now we write a new agreement, Kim replied. A real partnership between species that respect each other as equals. Humanity takes our proper place in galactic governance. Not as subjects or as masters, but as partners. And if we refuse? Thyrak asked quietly. Then, we continue doing what we've always done. Protecting everyone. Helping everyone. Keeping civilization safe. Kim's expression remained calm. But we'll do it without pretending that you're our equals if you can't treat us as yours. Thyrak looked around the chamber at his fellow council members. They all understood the choice being offered. True partnership with humanity, or continued protection by guardians they had tried to chain. What are your terms? Thyrak asked. Kim smiled. The same terms we would have accepted 4 weeks ago. Mutual respect, shared responsibility, recognition that every species has something valuable to contribute to galactic civilization. Including humans? Including humans. Admiral Vex leaned forward. The military cooperation agreements. Would humanity be willing to share your defensive technologies? Oh, we've been sharing them for 50 years, Sarah pointed out. You just didn't realize it. Every improvement to your shield generators, every upgrade to your weapon systems, every enhancement to your ship designs, included human innovations. You gave us your technology without asking for credit? We gave you better tools to keep yourselves safe, Kim corrected. That was always the goal. Dr. Park's voice rejoined the conversation. The same principle, applied to medical knowledge, agricultural techniques, industrial processes. Humanity has been quietly improving galactic civilization for decades. Hegemarch's stone features showed something that might have been respect. You were teaching us, without telling us. We were students. We were helping friends without keeping score, Kim replied. That's what friends do. Thyrak stood slowly. His pride had been shattered, his assumptions destroyed, his understanding of reality completely overturned. But for the first time in weeks, he felt something other than fear. He felt hope. Representative Kim, on behalf of the Galactic Council of Seven, I formally request that humanity join us as an equal partner in governing galactic civilization. Kim stood as well and extended his hand in the human gesture of agreement. As they shook hands, the tactical display showed human fleets resuming their patrol routes around the galaxy, still protecting systems that had scorned them, still keeping everyone safe. Because that's what humans do.